How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your host, Seth Julian, welcoming you to today's Seth Briefs, where we're going to discuss the absolute advantage between Bitcoin versus Ether. There's a relative advantage and an absolute advantage, and we're going to discuss both of those today. Here is a chart of the Bitcoin, a 1 week Bitcoin dollar chart. That's what the candlesticks are. And superimposed on that is an Ether dollar chart for the same data set. Now, what we can see is that the patterns are virtually identical. They track virtually identical, 100% correlation, 100%, a correlation of one, correlation factor coefficient of one, meaning they're completely correlated. And we see that the trend is quite strongly up in both cases. And so what I want to point out is that Bitcoin has become, certainly as well as Ether, more so than Ether, I should say, but Bitcoin has become widely accepted by the industrial concerns. There's futures contracts on these assets now, traded in Chicago, highly regulated, and this widespread adoption of growing, I should say widespread, I don't know if it's the right word, but there's certainly growing adoption of the use of cryptocurrencies by the populations at large. And there are certain fundamental advantages that hold to Ether that do not hold for Bitcoin. Ether is based on the Ethereum blockchain, which is much, much more powerful than the Bitcoin blockchain upon which the Bitcoin itself is based. The coin of the Ethereum blockchain, called the Ether, is much more able with respect to smart contracts and things of that nature. And that's where we believe the great future in cryptocurrency lies. And we've spoken in great extent in other fora about how excited we are about this. But that's for another time. What I just want to point out here is the simple mathematics. And so I just want to show you my notes on this. If we take a look at the prices from October 20th, which is about here when things started to take off. By the way, there was no effect of the pandemic had virtually no effect on any of the cryptos, interestingly enough. But if we go back to these notes here, we can see that it was Ether was 360 then, and now it was 3826. Now it's a little less; it's fallen, but it's as you know, it's highly volatile. But that at that time, and this data is about 2 days old now or something. It had grown by 962% in 14 months, versus the same period of time for Bitcoin, which went from about 10,500 to 46,700, which astonishingly 347%, but it's 177% less good than the performance of the Ether. Ether outperformed the Bitcoin on a dollar basis by 177% in 14 months. So, and we can see that mathematically because the difference between the two performance price levels has narrowed significantly in that time, from 2,800% to 1,100%. But the point of the calculations is to show that whatever you think about Bitcoin is highly likely to happen to Ether, except that the numbers are the relative price performance numbers are better because the absolute scale is lower, and so it's doing really well. And we think that Ether is going to at one point overtake Bitcoin as the cryptocurrency of choice. This happens in many realms where the first mover, in this case, would be the Bitcoin itself. And keep in mind, the Bitcoin has gone through several derivations of its own right. But the first mover loses its advantage to the then number two, which overtakes it. Yahoo is a classic case. There are many, many examples of this in many fields. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, we want to just leave you with the idea that not only is the Ether a superior coin, in our opinion, to Bitcoin from a technological point of view, and a socioeconomic point of view, but it's also better on a dollars and cents profit point of view. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we wish you all the ability to trade with confidence. Bye-bye for now.